Hey y'all, happy Monday. Thank you so much for coming back to another podcast episode for the What Else Is Going On, aka We Go podcast. I'm your girl, Taria. You can find the audio version of the podcast wherever it is you listen to your podcast, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, all that good stuff. So if you are a watcher on YouTube, please head on over to wherever your podcast app sends you and follow the podcast. What else is going on podcast? And if you are a listener, if you could head on over to YouTube, type in WEIGO podcast, or if you're listening to it, look in the episode description box on your podcast app, and I have the link, the YouTube link, right in there, highlight it for you. And like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube as well. No harm in being subscribed to both. It is a easy and free way to support content creators that you like. All right, let's get into this Potomac episode, y'all. This is healing and thriving, scratching and surviving, temporary layoffs, all that good stuff. That's what it reminds me of. All right, let's get into it. The episode opens. We're at the GNA event, which is 3 days before Karen's court appearance. And this is for the National Brain Tumor Society in honor of Giselle's father, who passed, I believe, from brain cancer. He had a brain tumor. Giselle's girls are there. In her confessional, she said everybody wants to underestimate GNA and everybody wants to say that it's a flop. But we're moving in a different direction. We are rebranding. Along with selling athleisure, GNA is now health and wellness. Okay. The ladies start arriving, and Stacy comes with TJ. In her confessional, Ashley says they've really been promoting GNA Fusion brand and what it represents, and a lot of people have gotten on board. Mia said, in the scene, Mia said she's still trying to recover from, I guess, the night before. Giselle says the other night was a lot. We cannot be outside of the courthouse with signs. So they flash back to Jazzy's party that she had. And Giselle was talking about Karen, her court date coming up. And Mia said she'll be out there holding up a sign. She's going to be outside the courthouse with signs. In her confessional, Giselle says she definitely invited Karen to the event, but I mean, to the GNA. She said, but I mean, she got a court date and seems like she needs to stay home and figure some things out. So somebody asked, where's Karen? And somebody else says, I don't know. Giselle and Ashley get on stage and Giselle takes the mic. She says, this is our first of many fitness events. We are now GNA Fusion. Child Wendy stay dragging GNA. In her confessional, she says, I still don't know what's going on. I did have clarity at the runway show. The only thing that was good was the crab legs. And they showed Candace sitting next to her. I miss my candy girl. Anyway, she said, now we're working out on a rooftop. Why are we here? Giselle says the goal for the National Brain Tumor Society was 15,000, and she doesn't know why they can't get to 20,000. So I'm super excited to turn the mic over to Tim. And Tim is the one who was introduced before at the other event. He's helping them with their fusion. I'm wondering how much money they raised at the other event, because she says our goal is 15,000. I don't know why we can't get to 20. So how much did you raise at the other event that you kicked the ladies out of? And then Ashley went to Jazzy's Sprinter van wanting them to scan a QR code to donate. Anyway, Giselle says, we have a surprise for you. After they do a workout looked like a real workout. Giselle says, gets back on the mic. We have a surprise for you. Ashley is my friend. She's my business partner, and she's an international pop rock star. Stacy says, oh, my Lord. Yes, mama. Yes. Mia says to Kay, I don't know what's happening. One thing me and Mia can agree on, because I don't know what's happening either. And then Ashley proceeds to get the mic. And Ashley uses her throat to omit a sound that talks about how she's healing and surviving and thriving. That's all I could get her. That's all I could give her. That's all I could give her. Moving on. When she starts singing, Stacy and Wendy look at each other and both say, oh no. Wendy says, where is the auto-tune? Stacy said, Ashley's singing is like my dancing. Ashley goes through the crowd, healing, surviving, scratching, temporary layoffs, all of that. In her confessional, Stacy says, I think that takes a lot of courage, performing that song in front of all of those people. The producer says, what about her singing? And Stacy says she put forth such an effort to hit those notes. She really, really did. Giselle closes out by thanking them for coming, then says bye, have a good day, and don't forget to be nice to people. Oh boy. You can hear Mia say, I just have to have a conversation with Jacqueline, but you can be a part of it. So the ladies end up sitting down. I don't think Giselle and Ashley are there right then. Mia says, so a couple of things, and I'm going to need to lean on you guys because you guys are my friends. There's so much going on with Gordon right now. He's in mania. In her confessional, Jacqueline says it has to be so hard for Mia because, she is Mia's number one cheerleader girl, dealing with a man who has a mental health condition. They flash back to the reunion where Gordon talks about being diagnosed with mental illness, bipolar 1. Jacqueline says, still in her confessional, Gordon should be happy and grateful that Mia has stuck it out as long as she has. Ashley and Giselle come over to the group. And when Ashley gets there, she says, Mia says, oh, hey. And Ashley said, oh, I didn't know you guys were still here. Mia says, I'm going to get this together without crying. Ink and Gordon kind of got into it. I don't want to cry about it, but he was like, you're an adulterer and she had an abortion by you. I just think that was really low. How dare you tell anybody what I did with my body? Giselle said, yeah. In her confessional, Ashley says, I honestly can't believe my ears. I want to be there for her, but it's definitely a lot to take in. In her confessional, Giselle says, Mia, girl, I don't know what kind of scenario you're trying to establish, i.e., what kind of narrative or story you're trying to do for this show. That's what she meant. But she says, I don't know what kind of scenario you're trying to establish, but this is like not cool for me. It's not exciting. It's not tea. It's not drama. It's too much. In the scene, Mia says, Ink actually said to me yesterday, if I'm a trigger for Gordon, I'll remove myself. And so the ladies look shocked. And Wendy says, oh my God, he said that? In her confessional, Mia says, when Gordon is going through mania, it's like a train that has derailed. She has said this quite a few times, unless she said it and they just keep playing that clip, because she has said it, what, 2 or 3 times now? She said he doesn't understand that everything is impacted, not just me. Ink is impacted, and it impacts the children, our family. Who cares about what Ink is feeling in this moment? Not that I'm all team Gordon, because Gordon, we know what you did with Mia on your first wife. But anyway, but it's still 2 things. As much as this saying makes me like, sometimes more than one thing can be true at a time. Giselle said, this is a hard road, but I feel like Ink is in it for the ride. Him falling back does not mean him go away. In her confessional, Mia says, I do honor and respect Ink for taking a pause, for us being a blended family for the sake of peace. Giselle says, I love y'all. Thanks for coming. Ashley says, we appreciate how open you are. This is to Mia. I know it's not easy. Wendy asked Mia if she was going to be okay. Mia says, yes, I'm good. Thank you, baby. Mia says, I appreciate you. Wendy says, I appreciate you. They were looking for TJ. And somebody said, I don't know where he went. We look up, TJ was still sitting on the grass. Giselle says, okay, so I just want to say Karen was supposed to be here. She sent me a text saying that she's not feeling well and she has a lot going on. Because remember, I believe this is 4 days. Was it 3 or 4 days? Let's go back. It was 3 days. 3 days before her event. So she wasn't feeling well. We all know on Tuesday it's her court case for her DUI, but she's not here. I just feel like we should pray for her. I'm going to tap into my first lady. Y'all know I went to that church. Okay. Giselle says, Lord, in the name of Jesus, please wrap your arms around Karen. Whatever it is that she needs to learn from this, allow her to learn, Lord. Please allow everything to work out for her in the best positive way. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. Ashley says, that was beautiful. We are here, honey. Karen's day for her court appearance. In her confessional, she says, the morning has arrived. And of course, I'm fearful of any accusations leveled against me. I never thought I'd be in this position at 20+1. I'm grateful to be alive, grateful I have attorneys, and praying for a good outcome. Inside, she probably is grateful that she didn't take somebody out of here, but she can't say that because that would be admitting to what we know she did, which was, again, carve her initials in a tree with her car. So she says, Ray comes out and she says, Ray, do you want coffee? And she says, are you ready for the day? I am. He said, I'm here. to support. It would be better on the golf course though. So Karen puts her hand up to her lips and she laughs. He says, "You'd rather be golfing too, wouldn't you?" And she said, "Actually, no, I'm ready for this to move quickly." And Ray said, "Yes, get it out of the way." She said, "This is nothing to play with. Legal stuff is nothing to play with. I'm exhausted with the process." Ray said, "Yeah." Karen said, "But I look good. How do I look?" He said, "You look great, actually, but you do look younger." He said, "You don't look like a baby or anything. You just look like a classy young lady, actually," after he stuttered for a little bit. There's a ring at the doorbell, and Karen asked, "He's not mic'd, is he?" And the producer says no. And we find out that it's her lawyer, Troy. In her confessional, Karen says, "I'm prayerful going into this case with the legal counsel that I have in place. And I'm so grateful for the court system, but I'm still scared because when you read it in black and white, it does shake you." Um, so her lawyer tells her, "We'll talk in the car. I want you to stay by me at all times. Okay. Just stay close to me." She says, "I will." Sorry, I just caught a glimpse of my lips. They shiny. Mwah. Anyway, in her confessional, she says, "I trust Troy to do his work. He's one hell of an attorney." So they're walking out. And listen, people talk about Ray's age. He's this, he's that. Listen, there are men in their 70s who can move better than some men in their 30s and 40s and are in good health. I don't know about Ray, but I do know that Ray was moving. He wasn't walking all hunched over. Ray was getting it out to that truck, okay? He was getting it, honey. Huh. They get in, and Karen says, "Let's just get in, and then we'll take the mics off." Karen says in her confessional, "I'm waiting for it to be done so I can talk about it. I just want to tell my truth, but I have to respect the process in order to come out on the positive end of this." Karen, I think people are now understanding, oh, it's legal. It's a criminal case. So yes, now we can't expect Karen to talk about it. At the same time, when she keeps saying things like, "I want to tell my truth, I want to tell my truth," when we know what the action is. There's no debating that she hit a tree. She was driving under the influence and she hit a tree. There's no debating that part, right? Hold on, y'all. I need to pause for 1 second here. Y'all, this is every night we try to decide what's for dinner. Hold on. I'm back, y'all. Child, still trying to decide on dinner. It's an everyday thing. But anyway, so I think that when Karen said, "I want to tell my truth," that's when people get frustrated. It's like, okay, we know you can't talk about it, right? Because it's a criminal case. You would be less than smart to come on here spilling a lot in a criminal case, and you can incriminate yourself even more, especially if you're trying to get out of it. But then again, saying stuff like, "I'm going to tell my truth." Maybe your truth was that you were sad and upset. And so you got behind the wheel of the car while you were drinking. That might be your truth, but the fact is indisputable. You hit a tree with your car, you know? So I think that's why people get annoyed with Karen. Um, Hold on. I had told Corey I paused my recording for him because he didn't know. He said sorry because I just decided to just record it anyway. Okay. That same day, as Karen had her court date, Mia and Kay meet up at a restaurant. Well, all the ladies are meeting up, but we see Mia and Kay there first. They say hi and they hug. Mia tells Kay she looks beautiful. Kay says, I think Kay told her she looked nice too. Kay says she needs alcohol because today has todayed me. I said, that's a good one. Today has todayed me. They place their orders and it comes out that Kay is allergic to cheese, right? Hold on, y'all. Okay. So she's allergic to cheese. Mia says, "Oh my gosh, I had no idea you were allergic to cheese." And Kay says, "Yeah, no cheese for me." Mia says, "How did I miss that?" And Kay says, "Well, we're getting closer and closer." And Mia says, "Yes, we're getting closer and closer." In her confessional, Kay says, "Charlotte was nasty work." And they flash back to Mia and Kay going back and forth about the drug dealer boyfriend, you of all people when you were a stripper, know, all that stuff. She says, Kay says, "After Mia apologized, we're off to a better start now and in our relationship. And we're here to make amends and be supportive of each other." Kay says, "So how are you?" Mia says, "I'm good. But the question is, how is Karen? Have you spoken to her?" I wonder if Mia knew that Kay did because Kay is close to Karen and they know that. because they've made that known. Mia says, I'm good. Oh, no. Kay says, I have spoken to Karen. I do have a message, but I want to make sure everyone's here at one time to say it. Mia says, got it. She's not coming because Karen was invited. Kay said she's not coming. Stacy arrives next, and in her confessional, she says, although I can't be there for Karen in the moment, the best thing we can do at this point is to try to support her, even if it's from afar, i.e., we still need to film. Giselle arrives next. In her confessional, Giselle says, listen, Karen has had a day, okay? We don't need to trash Karen. We just need to support her. Wendy arrives. So Giselle says, Wendy, I'm still looking forward to Blanca, which I think is Wendy's party. Stacy says, please tell me we're starting with Happy Eddie. And I think it's funny that they put the camera on Giselle because remember when Sesame Street, a.k.a. Deborah, was saying, wasn't she the one that said Eddie saw her and was just cheesing basically like he was happy Eddie, and Giselle was key and Happy Eddie. And then he turned around and made it some money off of it. So Wendy says there will be a Happy Eddie part there. There's going to be a food truck filled up with desserts and funnel cake and cotton candy. In her confessional, Wendy says, I really, really want my birthday to be a celebration of everyone I love and everyone who loves me. But I'm so nervous about Eddie's family. They show the flashback of Wendy telling her mom she was thinking about inviting Eddie's parents, and her mom turns around also. Please do. I'm here for peace. You know me. She know you. That's why she's a little nervous for your end as well. In her confessional, Wendy says there's so much at stake. So Mia says, thank you for getting us together. And Giselle says, we're rooftopping, because I think Giselle's the one that brought them together. She says, I feel like we needed to come together as it relates to Karen. And then she says, Ashley was invited, but she had a photo shoot. She's not sure if she's going to be able to make it. But has anyone spoken to Karen? Kay says, I have. I spoke to her today and things are looking good, but it was postponed today. So she has to go back in court in September. The ladies look shocked and confused, like, say what now? So now we're back at Karen's house later on that same day. Her lawyer, and Ray are walking in, and she says, all right, you guys want to have a quick seat? The producer says, now that your case is postponed until September, what happened? This was in the confessional. Karen says, well, I'll say this. The legal team is very slow, and I'm just going to have to be patient. At the table with the gentleman, she says, one down and one more to go. It's what I figured. Ray says to the lawyer, thank you for your representation. In her confessional again, Karen says, basically, but she wishes, because in the beginning, remember, it starts out, she's saying, I'm just going to have to be patient. She continues that thought and says, but I wish it were today. I wish it were all over. Back in the scene, her lawyer says, things didn't go according to plan. That was our objective today. Our actual trial date will be September 23rd, and we'll continue to work on your defense before that. But that's where we are. Karen says, all right, well, I feel much better about it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm exhausted, as you can imagine. He says he understood. She says she's not getting any sleep. Her lawyer says court is a stressful situation. She said it really is. He gets up to leave. She asks Ray, would he walk him to the door because she's going to go upstairs. Here's where I have a question. We talked about it in one of the YouTube videos I did, which, by the way, I upload YouTube videos weekly. So make sure you are subscribed with your notification bells on so you know when I post a video. We talked about Karen had went to court to try to get her case dismissed based on certain things, not being read her Miranda rights, her not talking directly to the cop, but was talking to the paramedic, and the cop overheard. So technically she didn't give him a statement. I forget what it's called legally, but if you go back, we did do that video. That was denied. That was in July, I believe. So I'm wondering, how many times did she go to court? Because we're filming right now. Wendy's birthday was in May. But what day did Ashley say? Did she say something about June? Like basically, because I'm trying to figure out when Wendy's party was. Was Wendy's party in June, even though her birthday's in May? Either way, it was between May and June, right? They go to the court, whatever that day was. And then her lawyer says we have to go back in September. But according to what we read, when she tried to go to get it dismissed and it was denied, that was in July. And now we know that she has 2 trial dates in December for this. So I'm just wondering, what did we like? Was all this in between that? Was all this something else? Did they go to court more than that and they're just not getting into all that? That's what I'm wondering. Because again, her court dates now are she has a trial 2 days in December for this. So I'm just wondering about that. So back at the Hotel Hive rooftop where the ladies were getting together, they're like, oh my gosh, September. Giselle said that would drive me crazy. And Wendy said, fingers crossed. Mia says, I noticed that she's getting skinny. Giselle said, I actually mentioned that to her, and she said she hasn't been eating. And Mia says, well, of course. Giselle said, she also said she hasn't been sleeping. Kay said, yeah, that's the first thing she said was that she hadn't gotten any sleep. Stacy said, what? In her confessional, Giselle says, when my dad passed away, Karen was very supportive. They show a flashback to the scene earlier when Karen and Giselle were at the restaurant meeting up, and Giselle talked about her dad passing away. And she says, I don't want to cry. Karen says, it's okay to cry. Giselle said, I do need to get to a place where I can talk about my dad and not cry. In her confessional again, Giselle says, Karen and I love to be enemies sometimes, but I'm going to let her know I'm here for you. So in the scene, Wendy says, does anyone know the consequences of the charges? Because I was talking to Eddie and he said she could have house arrest, she could have community service, she could face jail time. Kay says, yeah, all of those can be an option. In her confessional, Wendy says, if you're my friend, I'm going to support you. But if she's found guilty, any act that could potentially harm a human being gives me pause. She said, like, that changes the ball game. Again, we're acting as if it's suspected that Karen ran her car into a tree. We know, we know that's what happened. So that is an action that could have harmed a human being, her driving under the influence. It's no question that she was under the influence. I can see if that was even a question. But anyway, Giselle says, I think we should FaceTime Karen. Mia says, well, text her first. Make sure she's not drunk. Baby, I wanted Karen to know in that moment that she said it because I just wanted to hear Karen snatch Mia by her wig. Because Karen is funny, even though she be lying a little bit and stuff. No, not a little bit, since the beginning of season 1. But Karen is funny and quick. But yeah, Mia, but I said now Mia. And Giselle was kind of like, see? So they try to FaceTime her. It sounds like it rings twice and says she's unavailable. So Giselle says she's unavailable. Stacy says, I don't think she's drinking anymore, guys. She doesn't drink ever when we're together. She never drinks. Yeah, because y'all's on camera. And even if y'all are not on camera, she ain't gonna drink around certain one of those because she knows it'll get back to being on camera. Mia said, and so after Stacy says she never drinks, Mia says, and I don't have sex. Stacy said, what? Mia says, if Karen doesn't drink, I'm celibate. Stacy says, okay, so Karen is truly a drunk. Girl, all the ladies laughed except for Wendy, and Mia says yes. Somebody, I think Jazzy, was saying, you learn quick. And then Jazzy does say, she gonna be all right. She gonna be all right. Giselle says, did she just say Karen's a drunk? Wendy said, yes. Giselle said, Jesus Christ. Like, girl. Karen, I know Karen's steaming when she got the episode and saw it. Ashley and her kids. I'm not gonna lie, I was gonna zip all the way past this, not even mention it. But there's just a few things. It's her birthday. Uncle Lump, who I think is his wife, and a cousin come over. Ashley talks about the divorce again. She cries. You can tell the kids really do spend time around Uncle Lump and his family because the way they were hugging on them and all of that stuff. She thanks them for the recommendation to get a good lawyer. She said it did help her get to that point quicker to be able to file because last year she wasn't ready to do it. She starts crying. Uncle Lump hugs her. Her aunt says, I'm sorry, but you were a child from my perspective when you first started dating Michael. You've blossomed. In her confessional, Ashley says, I was really apprehensive to go through my divorce process because I know the man I married. If you ever back that man into a corner, he comes back stronger and heavier. And I just didn't fully feel prepared to undergo such a tumultuous fight. Child mama Sheila arrives. She also says the unpredictable nature and the volatile, like the relationship was volatile, of her relationship with Michael has made it a little easier for her to go through with the divorce. And I know that this is really the last thing I need to shed in order to really step into the next phase of life. The kids love her mom too. Obviously, the kids were sitting on the counter like they normally are when we see Ashley um, at her home. They go outside. The aunt's like, so tell us, Ashley, what's going on? Ashley says, I don't know if I'm being, or like, what's going on? I guess her feeling. She says, I don't know if I'm honest. When you go through mediation, part of what you have to do is really lay it down on the table. So you have to like get into the nitty gritty and talk about some of the things like the infidelity and things. And it's just going to be really challenging. Uncle Lump says, let me ask you this. Do you have legit proof of infidelity? Ashley says it was on the internet. Uncle Lump says, yeah, it's legit proof. I mean, yeah, y'all remember that. I saw the article and the video and the pictures of him laying up in his drawers in the bed with the girl and then practically begging her to go back either to her house or to somebody else's house, I guess, so they could finish because he didn't want to go. He laid up in the bed in his drawers. It was him because, again, I seen the pictures and the video. So they give her advice on moving forward, child. I personally don't think Sheila wants her to go through the divorce because I think Sheila thinks Ashley will lose access to the bigger money. I truly believe that. But Sheila does say he lost a good woman. Ashley said he is fine. Believe me, he's living his best life. Mia is in her car driving. The phone rings and it's Jacqueline. Mia says, hey, girl, what are you doing? Mia says, I'm sorry, Jacqueline says that. Mia says, I'm actually on the way to pick up ink from the airport because it's Friday. Jacqueline says, okay, so you get to see your boo. In her confessional, the producer says, now at the GNA event, you said you and Ink were taking a pause. They flash back to her, literally talking about Ink saying he's taking a step back, like a pause. She then says, let me just start over. I don't know. Wait, but let me go. Okay. When he asked her, you were taking a pause, they flash back to her saying it. The producer says, how short was this pause? Mia says, we decided that for Gordon's, let me just start over. Girl, she said, I don't know. I just think that causes are determining on whatever you want it to be. What? She tells Jacqueline, hey, babe, I just pulled up and I'm going to try and find ink. I'll call you later. So I recognized the airport they obviously were at Dulles. That was not BWI, which makes sense based on where they live, that he would fly into Dulles. Ink opens the door. She says, hi, boo. Then she gets out and says, I'm cozy today. And they hug. Ink gets in the driver's seat and she says, yes, feed me. She says, so how was your day? How was your flight? He said the flight was smooth. We landed a little early. I'm grateful for that. So they're holding hands. Mia says, I was just on the phone with Jacqueline. And then she says, the other day, it was a lot. It was just a lot. She said, you know how he is. He says one thing, talking about Gordon, but the next day it's another thing. They flash back to that reunion where Andy was asking Gordon what was his relationship with Mia's new gentleman, Ink. Gordon says, we're cordial. Then they show him from 2 episodes ago telling Ink, when I look at you, I see a person that had a daughter with my wife. She got pregnant and had an abortion because of you. Mia says, I'm sure the next time, or Ink says, I'm sure the next time he's going to be all smiles. Mia said, yeah, he's going to be like, hey. In the confessional, Mia says, following the confrontation that we had where Gordon stormed out, basically, I guess within 24 hours, they were upstairs at the pool hanging out. And they show the video of them toasting it up, taking shots all out by the pool and the kids jumping in the pool. This is why I say this is not okay. In the scene, Ink says if Gordon was about 25 years younger, I could probably do something about it, but I can't do nothing about it right now. Mia says, yeah, you have to respect your elders. And Ink says, yeah, stand on business, granddaddy. Mia says, it's just, Mia thinks that's just so funny. She's cracking up and says, wait, did you just call him granddaddy? I don't care. This is a scheme that somebody set up. Let's keep going. Child, let's keep going. They're at the setup for Wendy's party. Eddie and Wendy are going to walk through. Eddie says, there's so many people for a party. Wendy says, oh, look at my welcome sign. It's my face. She's really excited. They have a Happy Eddie station, which was cool. Everything did look really, really pretty. They go over the family seating. She wanted to make sure that Eddie's family and her family were sitting at the same table. In her confessional, Wendy said that relationship, meaning Eddie and his siblings getting along, is new to them. And if they're not able to attend for whatever reason, she's okay. As long as he has his parents, I'm sorry, his parents would be new. But if they're not able to attend for whatever reason, she's okay with that, as long as he has representation at the party. So I guess she's saying if his parents don't come, the relationship is new. She's okay with that as long as somebody's there to represent Eddie. But I was under the impression that she knew that the parents weren't attending because they were going to be watching the siblings' children. Anyway, Eddie and Wendy walk over to like rocks where there's like water. And she's trying to figure out how she's basically going to either get up on the rocks out of the boat or get in the boat. Either way, trying to figure it out because that's going to be a part of her entrance. Eddie says, let's go back before I sweat out my Beijing. I said, black men love them some Beijing. I used to use it for my hair too, and for years. And then one year I used it and woke up and put my glasses on because I take my glasses off, contacts out, glasses off at night, leave them on the side of the table. Child, put my glasses on and they felt tight. And like when I did like this with my forehead felt like it had knots on it. Child, got in that mirror. If y'all watch Martin, remember when Martin fought Tommy Hearns and face swelled all up, had them knots? That's what I felt like I looked like. Like it might not have been that bad, but my face had definitely swole and I had knots and was like a little bit red. Child, I all of a sudden was allergic to the Beijing. A mess. So Wendy's getting dressed and Eddie is helping her. Looks like Ink and Mia arrive first from the cast, and then Greg and Kay, then Ray and Karen. In her confessional, Karen says she's actually so happy to have something other to think about than her court case. So she doesn't have to. And she says, I'm not worried about seeing the girls. I've seen what they putting down. I can read them left and right, up and down. So it is what it is. If anybody steps out of line, like if anybody steps out of line, if anybody steps in the line of fire, kaboom, meaning she gonna light them straight up. Mia and Kay greet each other. Then TJ and Stacy walk in. Eddie's family comes. Giselle arrives. So Mia is telling some of the ladies, it's a lot. Gordon is not supposed to come to my floor. But then Karen and Ray interrupt. So she turns around, gives them a hug. That story is cut out. Giselle gives Karen a hug and says, Karen, you're free. You're free. I'm so happy you're free amongst us. And Karen just rolls her eyes. Ashley arrives, titties out. She looked good though. Mia tells Karen, the day of your hearing, you came out looking fierce and fabulous. Karen says, thank you. Giselle said, we were trying to figure out what you were channeling. Girl, Karen said innocence. When I tell y'all I laughed out loud, they all crack up laughing too. Karen says, you get my message. You received it. Kay says, firm on the innocence. In her confessional, Mia says, it's okay. It's okay to say you need help and you get your power back because then we won't have nothing to talk about because then we would have to support you because that's what friends do. So, so wait, I'm sick of the KFC by my house is so ghetto. Why they don't have crispy? Anyway, y'all, I'm hungry. I want some mashed potatoes and crispy chicken. But anyway, so then Mia says, if you tell the truth, if you admit you need help, we'd have to support you because that's what friends do. But as long as you want to dance around the equation, 1 + 1 does not equal 2. Coming from Mia, girl. Anyway, Jacqueline and Patrick arrive together. PP. Jazzy arrives. Mia walks right up to Wendy's mom. Now look, I go in on Mia and don't give Mia too much of nothing. I thought this was funny. Mia said, listen, I'm addressing it head on. So she walks right up to Wendy's mom and says, hello, Queen. How are you? I haven't seen you since we exchanged some words on the Twitter. Because, that's how Giselle says it. And that's what Mia was saying on the Twitter. Well, girl, Wendy's mom, Miss Susan, said, we did. Child, them old black women, they ain't gonna. She said, we did. Older, I'll say. She barely wanted to give Mia her hand when Mia reached out, for her hand. So the headline from Screen Rant says, RHOP, Wendy's mom, wait a minute. Wendy's mom. Oh my gosh, y'all, I didn't miss the I use voice to text when I take these notes, child, and I missaid a word. But basically, oh, Wendy's mom blasts Mia for on-screen assault against daughter. Then Wendy's mom says, okay. Mia says, well, you did. I just wanted to say hi. You look beautiful. Wendy's mom says, thank you. So, how is life treating you? Mia says, life is treating me good. So, mind you, ink is like in the background. Wendy's mom says, you're in my prayers. For once, I put you in my prayers. Mia said, did you? Mama Susan says, when you ask God to forgive somebody, especially if they called you out of your name, Mia says, absolutely. Then there was an empty seat, of course. So Mia says, I don't want to sit in anyone's seat. And Miss Susan says, you can have it. She's not here right now. I'm thinking it's Wendy's. And she says, I'll keep it warm. It was either Wendy or Ivy's, but she says, I'll keep it warm. Mia said, but I did make a promise to her. There were some things that were said that weren't so nice that were directed towards me from you. Miss Susan says on Twitter, ma'am. Mia says on Twitter. Miss Susan says, I tweeted about you when you threw water a drink. Yes, I did. And Mia said yes. Miss Susan said, what I thought you were referring to is when a bird flew and you said, is that Wendy's mother? Mia said yes. They flash back to the cash trip last year and there was a black crow on a wire. And Mia says, that's not your mama, is it? And Wendy says, don't do that. Which side note, after she said that about Wendy's mom, when she said, that's not your mom, is it? And Mia says, Wendy says, no, don't do that. I had tweeted, minding my business, didn't tag her. Because you know how their hotel was in a rough place. So they had to step over like cracks and broken cement to get to the restaurant they were eating at. So I tweeted, now, Mia, if Wendy, when y'all were stepping over cracks, walking back to the hotel, if Wendy had said, is that your mother? Would you have that same energy? I don't even know how she found it. Matter of fact, I tweeted it and then I put it on Instagram. Didn't tag her. She commented yes with a heart. I said, well, all right, respect. I can't even be mad, child. But anyway, Mia says, and I do need to apologize for that. Mia's mom said, I'm not a witch. I'm not sorry. Wendy's mom said, I'm not a witch. I'm a child of God. I do not fly. I thought that was funny. I do not fly. I tell you what I do. I get up and I pray, Holy Ghost fire. Holy Ghost, I pray in the name of Jesus. In her confessional, Mia said, I forgot she wanted me to apologize about the crow, but it missed me and went to Gordon. When you're anointed and sanctified, like I'm good, but it hit Gordon. Sorry. Stacy comes over to Jazzy and says, I have not had a moment to ask you about your event. How did everything turn out? And I guess there was a man that was kind of looking at Stacy hard. And I wonder if it's the same man that we'll get to later that Giselle mentions, the same man that carried Ashley. And Jazzy says, he was all up on you, girl. You better watch out. And Stacy says, where's my best friend? And you see TJ child across the pool talking to Ray about 1975. Stacy asked Jazzy, where are you sitting? Ashley talks to Karen and Ray and says, how are you doing? Was there any resolution the other day, meaning Karen's court case? Karen says, we're near it. And I can't say any more, but we're nearing it. Ray said, she's not supposed to say, but I could say. Shock. Karen says, you can't say anything. Ray decided to go ahead and be quiet. They all walk out to where Wendy was on the boat. Child, Wendy is flying around in circles. Somebody tells Ashley, one of the people that were there, but not part of the cast, you look pretty. And she goes, thank you. Well, you know, it's my birthday, so thank you. The DJ takes the mic, says, make some noise. Wendy is on the boat. Ashley said, is she a mermaid coming out of the water or is she in the boat? Here comes Wendy, child screaming, having a good old time. Giselle said, she's going the wrong way. It looks like she's going in circles. And Wendy is just screaming. In her confessional, Giselle says, Wendy, you're doing too much, honey. Your boat entrance was an epic failure. You did not land the boat. Land the boat. Ahoy. All the ladies moved back, like we stepping back from this. Wendy was still enjoying her ride. Stacy says, this is a grand entrance. This is amazing. So, child, Wendy's mom is standing there saying, Wendy, you're going to get off the boat. Stacy asked Ashley what she was doing later on that night, since it is Ashley's actual birthday. Ashley said it was Pride weekend, so she was going to do a drag king performance at Shakers. Stacy says, wait, what's the difference between a drag queen and a drag king performance? Ashley says a drag queen is a man dressing up as a woman. A drag king is a woman dressing up as a man. In her confessional, Ashley says, I conceptualized the idea of doing the drag king show about 6 months ago. So Stacy says, wait a minute. And Jacqueline says, Stacy, you didn't know this, babe? Stacy says, no. In her confessional, Ashley said, I feel sometimes like I got a little bit of dude in me and I have to lower my voice. And she lowers her voice a little bit and says, I feel like I got to be Ashton, you know? I feel like I need to be a little bit more in touch with my masculine side. So everyone's looking for their seats. We find out that Karen is right next to Giselle. Ray is like, oh, you're next to Giselle. Mia says, oh my gosh, I just want to have a good time and eat. She says that's to Ink. Giselle in her confessional says, Mia, girl, why is Ink here? You had me at my event, the GNA event, rubbing your leg because you were so upset about Gordon and they're not getting along. And oh my gosh, they're fighting in front of the kids. And now I see you on Instagram. They're having shots together by the pool. They're kikiing it up. They're having a ball. Me, I'm very confused. Wendy's sister Ivy says, oh, that's Nora, because they're all seated at the table, family table. And Wendy's sister Ivy says, oh, that's Nora. So they show Nora and Melanie, which are Eddie's sisters, who are absolutely gorgeous. Ivy said they can't even speak. And Wendy's mom is saying, no, they didn't speak to her. Stacy says, is this seat taken next to Ray? And Ray says, I think your name might be on it. Ray says, I'm trying to figure out where is Wendy. I said, Ray, we trying to figure out the same thing because it seemed like it'd been a little minute since she was doing donuts in that boat on the water. Where is Wendy? Stacy says, I don't know. I'm excited to see her. Ray said, I saw the boat thing. Stacy said, that is the way you make an entrance to your party. Ray said, I haven't seen that before. So Stacy says, well, how about this? Do you know what a drag queen is, right? Um, Ray says, yeah. So she says, do you know what a drag king is? Ray said, oh, I don't know if I know that. Stacy says, well, I didn't know that until today and everyone made fun of me. Ray says, oh, you don't hear that much, but I can buy it. Basically, that there's a drag king. So Stacy says, Ashley, sorry to interrupt you guys because Ashley's across the table, but I just wanted to let you know that Ray has never heard of a drag king either. Isn't that interesting? In her confessional, Ashley says, I think Stacy and I have a lot in common. We're both married to foreign white men, but they're both married to foreign white men. But Stacy is lacks a little bit of flavor. I think Stacy needs that. Girl, get them lips wet. Both sets. I said, child, Ashley is ready to jump 4 feet first in the pond, honey. Head first in the pond. In the pond. Oh my. TJ sits down and Stacy says, hi, you okay? And TJ says, oh, you noticing me now? Stacy says, absolutely. I was looking for you. TJ says, no, you weren't. I watched you sit down here. So Stacy says, and I kept saying, where is TJ? So he says, I'm right over there. You came to the party to hang out with everybody but me. Mind you, sitting on the other side of TJ is Mia, and it looks like she can hear and taking it all in. But then again, Mia might have been in her own world, child. Stacy says, I didn't see you. I'm sorry. TJ says, get it together, man. Excuse me. Stacy says, I'm sorry. Then we hear TJ, not see him, in what seems like a noticeably lower octave. Go back and watch. Says, what's wrong with you? You can take your hands off me. In her confessional, Ashley said, the last time I checked, TJ is a grown man. Shouldn't he have the charisma to make friends with everybody? Stacy has one child. She doesn't need another. I was thinking, oh, so you don't know how this TV thing works, TJ. Because remember, he went to the GNA event with Ashley and Stacy had to, of course, you may show up with your spouse, but what happens? We all know the formula. At some point at an event, all the ladies end up together so they can have these moments. So he was sitting on the grass by himself while Stacy was with the ladies. Now you're at the party. And of course, you got to do your thing and mingle and get your camera time. And so he was feeling by himself again. No excuse. Again, if you go back and watch that scene, the octave in his voice got lower when he told her to get herself together. Who are you talking to, sir? You and your Miami Vice suit can exit stage left. Now look, I, okay. Wendy finally makes her entrance looking beautiful. They're throwing money at her. In her confessional, Wendy says, even though Eddie and his family, they're all working to be better to each other, um, it's not like my mom and my sister, like meaning Eddie and his family are working to be better, but they're not necessarily working hand in hand with her mom and her sister. They're like the extras in this situation. She said, if I could see them getting along, I want that. Will I get that? Sha, I don't know. Wendy makes a speech and said, I said I wasn't going to cry. I may cry. I just want to say cheers to 40, but cheers to 40 more. Amen. Love Wendy down, but she probably had a much longer speech. Ashley says, okay, my friends, to Wendy. So her and a group, and they're taking a shot because it's also Ashley's birthday as well. Again, it's her actual birthday that day. Wendy, uh, Ashley says, Wendy and I have been Gemini sisters. Giselle says, happy birthday. So Stacy says, I'm hungry as they're sitting at the table and says to TJ, do you like the flowers? He gonna say that's a girl question. Child. Giselle says, hi, friend, to Wendy's friend, Giano, who I believe is Black. And so Giselle says, I heard she was in your arms. And he says, I felt like she was looking into my soul. Gianna says the energy was 100% there. Now, in her confessional, Giselle says, Giano, I think, wanted to chit chat with everybody at the party. Ashley, move on. We're going to leave him in the streets. Yeah, no. I think that's the one that was looking at Stacy when Jazzy said, oh, okay. He was like, oh, up on you. I think that's the same one. Also, we know Ashley does not date men that are the hue of Giano. Okay. They normally have Michael's hue. Stop trying to play in our faces. Moving on. Wendy's taking a picture with Eddie and his sisters, and she calls their husbands up. Man, when I tell you Eddie's family is gorgeous also. And one of the sisters, I think Melanie, looks like Eddie when she was smiling. Um, in her confessional, Wendy said she's excited about the potential of healing this wound. She said, I officially feel like we've turned a corner. So back in the scene, this was so cute. You see Wendy hug one of the husbands, and Eddie's in the background smiling and saying, I'm happy. I'm so happy. And his sister Melanie says, that's more like it. Where's my happy Eddie? Where's my happy Eddie at? I was like, oh my gosh. And they're all just so beautiful and glowing. All the ladies pretty much convene at a table away from the crowd, what they do. Giselle says, hi, oh my gosh, Wendy, happy birthday. I must say this, regardless of why we think it's happening, I do like this better than the whole icing out. So she says, oh my gosh, Wendy, happy birthday. Stacy says, that was an entrance. Giselle said, when you were looping in the ocean, I thought you would never come. Wendy said, I thought I would never come either. She said, I didn't know what was happening. Giselle said, no one did. And Karen said, and I think it was Karen that said, I loved it. Wendy said, but I feel like y'all are about to tell me something that's going to make it like basically negative. And the ladies were like, no, no, no. Wendy said, oh, because she was about to be like, now what happened? Giselle said, if I could talk to Mia for a second. Mia says, yes, because she knew I was coming. Giselle says, you were at the GNA event and you shared a lot of personal, sensitive things with us. They flash back to Mia, what Mia shared about Gordon. She said, and then 24 hours later, you're on Instagram with a full-fledged photo shoot of Gordon and Ink and the children. Jazzy says, now hold on, wait a minute. Hold on, wait a minute. Giselle says, having shots. Ashley says, with the children? Giselle says, with the children. Now, in her confessional, Giselle says, Mia lies about so many things. So they go back to the reunion a couple of years ago. Andy says, Chris, did you try and holler at Mia back in the day? Chris said that's what she said in a tweet. And there was a tweet that Mia had tweeted that said, you'd be mad if you found out your husband was tossing my salad in the kitchen. Hashtag sous chef. That was September 19th, 2021 at 11:18 a.m. She was trying to insinuate that Chris back in the day had tossed her salad. So that's why Andy asked the question. And I will say it's fair to note that since then, Mia has basically admitted that she was lying about that and some other stuff. And so then in that scene, Giselle was like, oh, so that was just a jab? And Mia says that was just a jab. So you tweeted that trying to act as if you and Chris had a thing back in the day, But then you had to admit it was just a jab. Um, so then they show another flashback to a couple seasons ago. Giselle hugs Mia and said, "Is this what cancer, no cancer looks like?" So in her confessional, Giselle says, "We don't know the truth about Mr. Ink. We don't know the truth about Gordon. I'm feeling like I can't believe anything coming out of Mia's mouth." This is wild to me because seasons before, particularly when Mia was having a thing with Candace, like back and forth, off and on, Giselle sat in her confessional and said, "We all know Mia lies. We think it's cute," or something like that. I believe she said, "We think it's cute." This is nothing new. This is why now her and Ashley, I'll leave Wendy out of it because Wendy kind of knew what called me out before, I believe. But specifically Giselle and Ashley, y'all are now doing interviews in the press talking about Mia lying, but y'all knew that Mia lied before. Again, Giselle, you were literally in your confessional some seasons ago saying, "We all know Mia lies, but they think it's cute." Now it's a problem, though, for you because Mia is not being used as a pawn with your issue with another castmate. It's just Mia on her own now. And we knew that day was going to come when you would tire of Mia. And here we are. Okay. Anyway, Mia says to Giselle, "So before GNA, Gordon and Ink went on a rampage against each other." Wendy says, "What changed in the 24 hours?" And the ladies were like, "Yeah, it was literally 24 hours." Ashley said, "You cried to us and we all felt in our hearts for you." Wendy said, "Yeah, we rallied around you." And Ashley says, "We were like, oh my God, you need to create space." In her confessional, Ashley says, "It's very hard for me to show up for my friend when their actions and their words don't align." So that has got to mean that you're not friends with Sesame Street, AKA Deborah, right? I know you said y'all were taking a break, but because her words and her actions haven't aligned. Anyway, Ashley says it's hard for her to show up, for her friends when their actions and their words don't align. Then Ashley says, she, meaning Mia, knows full well Ink is a trigger for Gordon. She said, "And I'm having a really hard time sympathizing with her now." Mia says in the scene, "The fathers of my children can get along." They all say at the same time, "Fathers?" And Jacqueline was smirking. Y'all, the smirk on Jacqueline's face was like, "That's right. That's right." Like, go ahead and say, like, create a moment. That's what I was getting. Y'all go back and watch that scene. And I will say, though, I did like the hair on Jacqueline. Did y'all like it? Anyway, Mia says, "Yes, the fathers." Stacy says, "I thought Gordon was your child's father." Kay is like, "Wait, wait, wait. Back it up a little bit." And then we get a "next time on Potomac." And it ends. I thought the episode was cute. I enjoyed it. Again, I don't need drama on a 10 every episode. I'm fine with the one because I enjoyed the episode. Y'all let me know if y'all enjoyed it. Are y'all looking forward to more episodes? Do y'all think the season is turning out better than you initially thought? Do you think it's mid? Y'all let me know what y'all think. I love y'all so much, y'all. Thank you for bearing with me trying to figure out these dinner texts because it's something when it's just me and Corey, but then also it's like, um, uh, I mean, not but like the kids are home, so we're like, "What's going on for dinner, child?" One might DoorDash something, one might do this, so we still trying to figure out dinner. We need to get it together. All right, y'all. I love y'all, and I will talk to y'all later. See you. My Married to Medicine review will be coming, if not tomorrow. It will definitely be out sometime this week. See you guys. Here I go again, y'all. Y'all know.